What is up, everybody? Welcome in dfsarmy MLB pre-lock show, Tuesday the 4th of August, the day after the trade deadline. We are going to see some different type of lineups tonight with some acquisitions, and we've already seen one lineup come out that looks like absolute trash because of some trades and some other stuff going on in San Francisco. That lineup is, I don't know, it made me want to puke. And it lines up with the Mackenzie Gore projected ownership against that lineup. I will say that the projected ownership was this high prior to that lineup releasing, so I would not be shocked if it goes higher. Long intro, but Tattoo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing not bad. It's just raining here, so starting the post Adley era.
Yeah.
I'm not as broken up, I think, as a lot of Oriole fans are, but
I just think there's a lot of fans that didn't realize that he had turned down different extension talks over the last couple of years. So, like, it just makes it so much tougher.
Well, and I think there's a lot of, and he drives me nuts. I can't really stand him. But, like, I was watching Ryan Ripken, and, they were talking about, oh, they're only 2.5 games out of a wild card. I'm like, seriously, like, this team is not going to make a run. Like, they're not. Like, be honest with yourself.
Yeah, the quoting wild card standings in a lot of scenarios, the Detroit Tigers have the same exact record as the Orioles. They traded a Cy Young pitcher away and another pitcher. The Blue Jays are like a game and a half behind the Orioles.
And
Blue Jays just traded away their starting center fielder, traded away some of their bullpen, plus another. Who am I thinking of? I can't come up with the top of my head, but I mean, they traded a bunch away, right? Like,
yeah,
you're using that to, like, so many teams are technically within play yet, right? Like,
yeah,
there's only 3 teams in the AL that are greater than 4 games out of the wild card. There's 3 teams in the NL out of, that are more than 6 games out of the wild card. So there's 5 teams that are out of the wild card by more than 4 games, but it's a lot tighter. Like, I don't know. The Cardinals traded away multiple dudes, and they're 4 games out of the wild card, and their record is a game and a half better than what the Orioles are.
Yeah.
So, like, just a lot of these front offices have to decide in the moment, and I think it's a fine trade because I don't know that the Orioles are all that much worse off in the second half without Adley.
I think the Orioles won that trade. Well, you can't say that right now because prospects are just that, prospects. But, I mean, they had the potential,
The Orioles, like, based on, like, what we know now about their trades, the Orioles lost the Taylor Ward trade, but they absolutely crushed in Adley. They crushed in trading away Tyler Wells. Now, it was for a pitcher that yesterday I said I had never heard of. I went back and looked it up. Like, that guy's got some pretty strong future value.
Yeah.
So, like, a team like the Orioles, like, they got better long term. And let's be honest, this opens up more money for them to where I would probably expect Gunnar Henderson to be a long-term player for Baltimore. And then also, like, maybe now they can finally put money into their pitching staff.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So I don't know. Like, a lot of these are, making decisions. Like Toronto being 4 games out of the wild card right now, they didn't just completely sell out. Like, they brought back Jose Soriano after trading away Gausman. They did Soriano because he's got multiple years of team control. So, like, the trades they made were more focused on next year than, trying to get the last wild card spot this season. It is going to be interesting to see how some of these teams start out. Like, I don't know. I know it's not the second half. The All-Star game was a few weeks ago. But
I mean, this is like the last third, really.
I kind of look at it like pre-trade deadline and then post-trade deadline. Like, which teams come out of the trade deadline motivated and which teams come out just flat, right? Yeah, like, I think Baltimore wasn't really necessarily no man's land. I just think they kind of lost whatever edge they had in the clubhouse or whatever. That team from a couple years ago, when they had all the fun in the dugout and were winning, it's virtually the same team, right? Even then, like, they replaced like Ramon Urias with higher upside prospect names, at the major league level. So I don't know, like, something just had to change in Baltimore. And maybe it starts by trading your team leader like that. I don't know, but also from Baltimore, like, even though Basayo isn't all that great defensively, like, you still had somebody to step in.
Yeah.
In place of Adley. So it's weird. But I mean, for that kind of package, like, most teams should trade their better players. I do believe, like, every player should have a price, and that package is strong enough, especially for a team that has been searching for pitching help for so long. And, like, every pitcher they bring up through their organization just doesn't seem to pan out.
Yeah.
Grayson Rodriguez, Trey Gibson hasn't really done anything at all. I'm probably missing some other guy.
Is how much am I going to get? Because, I keep hearing like, they're going to, kind of baby him and, conserve his arm. So, that concerns me. But I mean, I think he has the highest upside on the slate.
Yeah, I'm not overly last year in the postseason as, like, number 2 catcher. So both of them came back via trades. So it's interesting to see, but obviously both of those guys plus Alfonso, like, I don't believe they've ever had any affiliation with Skubal at all. So
yeah. Whereas Jake Rogers was his personal catcher.
Right. So, yeah. And maybe Jake Rogers becomes available being released by Boston here in, a week or something. But leg problems, are you talking about the stream lagging, or am I? Because I've had connection issues all day. Or is it DS lagging? Like, which version of lag, I guess? Who would you put as your number 1 pitcher on this particular slate?
Right now, I honestly have it as Skubal. Now, I was a little more down on Gore, but the lineup changes that some. So, now I do, and I'm trying to switch my brain from FanDuel where I probably had like a 5-pitcher pool, maybe 6. But yeah, I still have Scooble as my number 1, but Gore's right there.
Ben Rortvet is catching tonight for the Dodgers. So of all the catching options, I think he's the best one for Scooble's upside. He's known as just being a extremely strong defensive-minded catcher. And that's kind of, I think, why the Dodgers brought him back, because of what he did with their pitching staff last year when he was needed. Sounds like it might be a YouTube thing. We'll have to pay attention to that as well. If I remember to, I'll watch back the show tonight just to see if I can get an idea. But yeah, so would you be shocked if I told you that Mackenzie Gore nor Tariq Skubal were my top pitcher on the slate tonight?
Yes.
Then would you be shocked if I told you that those two are not my top 2 pitchers tonight, or not within my top 2 pitchers tonight?
I'd be more shocked.
And to me, I get that it's probably going to sound a little bit crazy, and I understand it. It becomes crazier now, obviously, seeing the San Francisco lineup facing Gore. But I do have some true worries about Skubal and his first start with the Dodgers from a getting on the same page standpoint. I don't love that wind blowing out to left field in Wrigley, because it's a left-handed pitcher. The Cubs are automatically going to be very right-hand heavy anyways. So I don't necessarily like that, especially because, Skubal has had some issues this season.
Yeah, home runs.
So my number 1 pitcher is Logan Henderson.
Oh, thank God.
Ironically, is the name that was most associated with Skubal leading up to this weekend's trade deadline.
Yeah.
It's mainly the fact that he's pitching at home, where we just seem to like Milwaukee pitchers pitching in Milwaukee. And Pittsburgh on the road this season is striking out 10.3 times per game, which is roughly a half a strikeout or more than the second most on the season. I don't remember which team on the road struck out the second most, but Pittsburgh's striking out a ton away from home. Pittsburgh struck out a ton last night in game 1 of this series. That's even with Shane Drohan not being very good. I'm just going to go to Logan Henderson. I think that the ballpark's going to be somewhat electric, because the Brewers fans know that Detroit wanted Logan Henderson in a Skubal trade, and that Milwaukee turned them down for that. I'm learning today that it was Logan Henderson with Jet Williams and then maybe Luis Pena, even though I've heard contradicting reports there, that Detroit wanted or something along those lines. Might not have been Jet Williams. It might have been Braylon Payne. That might be it. Somebody that was outside the top 100. But the Milwaukee Brewers refused to give up Logan Henderson in a trade. So I don't know that it's going to motivate, or it should motivate Logan Henderson just to know that the Brewers value him so high, and the fan base loves him too. So I don't know. I'm kind of playing off of potential emotions in this spot, but it's hard to ignore the strikeout upside matchup.
Yeah, I was like, the K thing is real. So
his ceiling might not be able to match Skubal or Mackenzie Gore tonight. It might not even be able to match somebody like Ryan Weathers from a pure ceiling standpoint. But I do feel much better about Logan Henderson getting 25 to 30 than every other pitcher on this slate. And now my number 2 pitcher on this slate, let me scroll down here a bit in ownership. and try to find. Oh, there he is. He's projected at 1.3% owned on DK. Troy Melton pitching for the Detroit Tigers. Yeah. Taking on the Seattle Mariners. I have no problem picking on the Seattle Mariners with very solid pitchers. Troy Melton was a pretty big prospect name 2 years ago. Has flashed things at the major league level. His numbers this year are absolutely phenomenal. Even better when pitching on the road. And that's coming from him pitching in Detroit, which is a pitcher's park as well. So I think the reason that he's so low owned is because he's only $200 cheaper than Logan Henderson is. I mean, obviously, then add the fact that you have Scooble too, who's just $1,200 more. But for me, I'm kind of putting myself out there and playing Troy Melton as my number 2 on the slate. I don't know what that means for my
picture for FanDuel. And on FanDuel, he is 0.64% owned.
Yeah, I mean, FanDuel is probably where I'd end up with my most leverage. I don't know that I can get to 30% trying to work out my percentage breakdown yet. But I am fairly certain that I will have more Troy Melton than I will have Ryan Weathers at 23%. I'm going to have more Logan Henderson than I have of Scooble. I'm going to have more Logan Henderson than I'm going to have of Mackenzie Gore. I don't want to go too underweight on Mackenzie Gore because the matchup's so good now.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the kind of hang-up thing is, like, it's going to be really tough for me to get Melton as owned as he should be based on my rankings, just because I don't want to give up much percentage of Gore. I don't really want to take away a ton of percentage from Scooble. Like, maybe I'm at 20% Scooble, but, like, I need to create percentage somewhere. And I'm basically playing all the main guys, so, like, I can't completely fade to get a bunch of percentages. I would definitely rather play Troy Melton than Emerson Hancock in that same game. So I don't know. Maybe I can win the slate this way, or maybe I just get absolutely destroyed. I'm not sure.
I like it because I don't trust Ryan Weathers.
Kind of where I'm going here. Yeah, I don't either in that ballpark, especially.
I mean, the biggest favorite on slate, my ass. I
I definitely like the Yankees offense. I mean, the biggest favorite, but he's super close to the same number as Mackenzie Gore and Scooble. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Gore number moved after the San Francisco lineup came out, too. I'm not sure if that money line number has changed at all in the DS. So, I wouldn't be shocked, if Gore is now the highest favorite on the slate. But, yeah, I'm kind of taking a stance a little bit, I guess. I wanted to be on Patrick Sandoval because I know how much you love the White Sox, and that goes against what you do say, but also the fact that if you look at it, a lot of the White Sox lineup has been struggling. Like the runs that they kind of get bailed out with end up being like the Murakami home runs recently.
Yeah.
Or some random guys doing a couple things. I just think that starting pitchers have fared pretty well against the White Sox over the last couple weeks. But also the wind's blowing straight out in Fenway, and it looks like, the best hitting environment almost. Maybe not quite as strong as Wrigley is for right-handed hitters, but it looks good from an offensive standpoint. So, and I basically never can fade Joe Ryan, even though maybe tonight's the night you should. Like he's on the road. Bobby Witt's returning for Kansas City. Did you or are you considering somebody like Trey Savage tonight?
Not on DK. I mean, not on FanDuel. How much is he? 8,300.
8,300, which feels like a decent price.
Yeah. Yeah. I could be talked into that. I probably trust him about as much as I trust Weathers.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. There's also like Savage is due for a great fantasy point start, because when you look at his underlying numbers, like his average against is super low. His whip's all right, but his walks have increased. But like, there's just so much about his pitch profile and his stuff. Like, I don't know if you've seen like Pitching Ninja and all those guys' pitchers list on X and some of their videos. Like, they absolutely love Trey Savage's stuff. So his stuff plus metric is through the roof. He just kind of gets a little bit unlucky when he has guys on base. Like at some point that's going to correct a little bit, and he's going to have one of those big starts. And he started the season out, had to be pretty close to 10K, right? Because he had so much hype coming from the postseason last year.
Yeah.
Houston's a tough one, obviously, because Jordan and then Pena's been on fire. But
and Walker.
I mean, it's not the most ideal of matchups.
Yeah. But, I mean, didn't Houston lay an egg last night, if I recall?
The first half of the game, yeah. They scored a few runs later, but against the bullpen, which now that's not.
Look at ownership.
Did it update?
Mine did automatically.
I'm going to refresh it quick. But while I refresh it and get the new – oh, yeah. Now, remember, Toronto just traded away a few bullpen pieces, too. So, like, their overall bullpen is now weaker. Their closer is still elite. So, like, you get to the ball to the closer from Savage, and you're all right. But we get an update in ownership. Skubal jumped over Mackenzie Gore. Gore came down a little bit. That's interesting. Logan Henderson's still fourth in ownership. So for me, he's going to be my highest own for sure. Joe Ryan went down even more. But now you're getting Joe Ryan to a percentage even on the road where I have to play him. He has enough of a ceiling no matter when he takes the mound that if you're going to tell me the field's going to have him at 8%, like I will just gladly play 16 to 18% Joe Ryan. Because the overall Kansas City lineup is not that dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's scroll down to my Troy Melton play, who's down to they're at 1.34% now. I don't know if that changed much, but so it looks like Ryan Weathers came down a little bit. Skubal went up, Gore went down. Hancock might have went up a couple percent as well, which I don't love. So I am tempted to just fade Hancock just based on what he's done recently. Now, obviously, some of his recent performance could have been associated with the fact that he was included in a ton of trade rumors. And maybe that's affecting, a younger arm.
Yeah.
Like trying to pitch through all those trade rumors. Maybe that was affecting him, and maybe now he can go out there and be free. We also don't know what Detroit lineup going to do. what the feeling in that clubhouse is after they traded away Scooble and Casey Mize. But I mean, I kind of like Detroit's offense a little bit tonight. So George Lombard is a top
Yankees,
40-ish prospect in baseball.
the next Derek Jeter.
Well, they said that about Volpe too.
Yeah.
But I mean, George Lombard Jr., like his dad played in the majors. Might have been in the
he was
90s.
coach at the World Baseball team, World Baseball Club.
Was he? Yeah. So, Lombard's a pretty big prospect. His brother Jacob was just drafted in the first round by the Marlins this summer. Having a pretty solid season. He's been on fire in the minors over like the last month or month and a half. So
he hit a home run off of Wheeler when Wheeler was rehabbing.
Did he? So just he's got a lot of upside. Still a little bit raw. I don't know that he's ready to play full time in the majors, but they decided to send Volpe down last night after the game.
To the Savannah Bananas.
I think Volpe's just screwed, but I think it's just because his shoulder just was shot, and now like he can't really throw playing shortstop. And I think like shoulders affect your swing so much, like he just doesn't have any power right now. So, Do you have anything to add from a pitching standpoint? Any names that I didn't really mention that you consider? Like, saw some people in our chat talking about Hunter Dobbins earlier this afternoon.
I hadn't really looked into him because I definitely didn't think about him on FanDuel. Hunter Dobbins.
The only other guy that I think I could see people asking about would be Eduardo Rodriguez, because he's had such a solid season. I just don't know if he has enough upside. You know, like he just, his K numbers just are super questionable. And I think it's just tough for him to match other guys, especially at 8K. But I think that's one that some people are just going to include, and I can't really argue against it enough. Other than that, I just don't think he has enough upside. But let's switch over to some bat. What's that?
I was saying 6,500, maybe worth some shots.
Oh, Dobbins?
Yeah,
I just can't do it.
But it's a lot of danger in there.
I didn't play McGreevy last night based on the fact that I felt like the Yankees coming back home probably were in line for some home run upside, especially finally facing right-handed pitching, because it seemed like they faced a handful of lefties for a little bit, and it got there. And I obviously think Hunter Dobbins is much worse than McGreevy. So, like, it's really tough for me to be like, I didn't play McGreevy on a smaller slate. Let's play Dobbins on the bigger slate tonight. And I just don't think that it's I am going to play a little bit of St. Louis, but they're near the bottom of my rankings, kind of like a last team in to make my numbers kind of work out. I don't really want to chase last night. Plus, so Burleson's not in the lineup tonight. And Burleson was the main reason for last night's explosion, obviously, with 3 home runs. I will not be throwing Freddie Peralta. I don't care. I mentioned it on the pitching video this afternoon. Would I be completely shocked if all of a sudden he remembered how to pitch by leaving the Mets and going to a team like Tampa Bay? Probably not. I'm just not expecting it to happen in Coors against the combination of Cole Carrick and Mickey Moniak.
Ain't good, man.
So, I mean, I generally just don't play Goodman as high as other people, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing the Rockies for sure. We're gonna we'll get to stack rankings in a second or stack discussion. I just wanted to look at ownership projection of single bats. Highest owned hitter, Royce Lewis, right now. That's one that just caught me off guard. I was not expecting to see that. Yeah. In fact, the Twins have 4 of the 8 highest owned hitters right now.
You probably had Nick Sogard as your highest owned.
Yeah, I can't say I had Nick Sogard showing up in that slot either. I'm like, it's tough to be like, yeah, J-Cam should be the highest owned because he's 6,900, and that's just insane to pay for a bat. But I mean, you're paying 6,400 for Shohei. You might as well pay 6,900 for J-Cam. But yeah, I'll switch over here to the leverage sheet, and we'll get an idea of where everybody's going or projected to go if it wants to load. Highest owned team is the Minnesota Twins.
Junior, what's great? FanDuel Junior is like 4,200.
Yeah, I mean, that's much better. Jake Bauers scratched for the Brewers this evening.
Didn't have a lot of interest there anyway.
I mean, I like Jake Bauers. He's been hot.
Yeah.
But all right, that just helps at first base a little bit. Yeah, so Minnesota Twins, the number 1 highest owned squad. Very interesting. In my eyes, I don't know. Is Minnesota your number 1 team?
I think so, if I recall. Right there with Tampa. I think I don't know if I necessarily have to call them my third team, but they're the first team to come up that I typed in for the second tier. I think would be a surprise, and now their lineup comes out.
So you got San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you, technically, Minnesota is my 10th ranked team tonight. So I'm going to go severely underweight. I will tell you, my number 1 team is the Colorado Rockies. Going off of Harlock's last question, the Colorado Rockies are my number 1 team. I am going to pick on Freddie Peralta. They are the number 1 leverage ranked team, apparently. This is, like I said, this is my first time looking at leverage stack today, so I made my stack rankings in my sheet, which are up on the site. Colorado, number 1 for me.
And number 1 in batter WOBA and 4 in pitcher WOBA.
Yeah. So to me, it's just a great spot. Apparently, I'm just going to be super different tonight because my second ranked team, or 1B, based on how I do my tiers, is the New York Yankees, way down there. And would you look at that? Number 2 on the leverage ranked. This is weird because normally my rankings don't exactly align with leverage rankings. But apparently that's where we're headed, at least at the top. New York Yankees and Colorado Rockies are my tier 1 combination. I'm really shocked to see the Yankees so far down.
Yeah. There's a lot to love about the top 4 in leverage.
Who is number 3? The LA Dodgers. Interesting. The LA Dodgers are a tier 2 stack for me.
Yeah.
I guess they kind of fall behind Tampa Bay. and Atlanta, which, wow, the top 5 leverage stack teams are my top 5 stacks. Just flip flop the Dodgers and Tampa Bay on the leverage ranking, and you have my 1 through 5 exactly. Feels really weird. Does that mean like I'm on to something tonight, or am I just doomed this evening?
I think you're on to something.
Let's see. Arizona is number 6 in leverage stack leverage rankings. Arizona is my 7th ranked stack on the slate. Boston is the 7th ranked leverage stack team. Boston is my 6th ranked stack on the slate. So I'm afraid to keep going. I'm not going to lie. Because if everything just starts matching up, I don't know. I'm going to be sick.
White Sox. How about that?
Well, there we go. We can end it there because the White Sox are not in my top 12. So thankfully, I can stop. Maybe we can continue with yours because I can also tell you the White Sox at 8, Houston at 9. Houston is not in my top 12 either. Like I'm not actively trying to stack against you, Savage. Maybe now you can give your top scenarios because I'm a little caught off guard now by everything kind of aligning with leverage rankings.
Well, I'm moving my Colorado up, but yeah, I had Tampa Bay and Minnesota. A lot of bets I just really like for Minnesota tonight. I threw San Francisco in there in my tier 2. Just as I was going through today, it was just I came across a lot of San Francisco batters. So it just made me, a lot can change from your early research to pre-lock. But they were a darling for me. I like Kansas City. Like I said, I got the Yankees, Dodgers up there. I got the Braves, Arizona. I like Miami. Then at the bottom, I had Cubs and Texas. And, of course, I had Boston and the White Sox. It was a lot of teams I liked today.
Yeah, I do think I could have ranked a few more teams than the 12 or 13. Like the White Sox would be 13th for me, so like they're right outside my top 12. One team that I'm super high on that leverage rank is not would be Detroit. And by super high, I mean like they're in my top 12. They're not, they're still tier 2, but I am going to pick on Emerson Hancock a little bit. In fact, Detroit would be my 8th ranked team, just to give a little difference compared to the leverage sheet. So, like, there are some things where I'm definitely opposite on, but the fact that I'm basically matching the first 7 in top 7, I don't know. My last couple months have gone from MME standpoint. I'm a bit worried.
Yeah. See what kind of case I can make here. Let's see. 1st, 2nd, 5th. I think San Francisco, now that I look, I think they could make a really good 2-man. And like I would include in that like Susak, Yohung Lee, and Basabe.
Oslavis Basabi. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do not
Susak
think
has
I was
been
just gonna
pretty
say I
hot.
don't have any 5-man full stack interest in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's tough just looking at everything.
Yeah.
Having Schmidt and Chapman on the IL, Eldridge out of the lineup again. Obviously, it's left on left, but I didn't think he's been all that bad against lefties. So taking his power out of it, Adames has been pretty bad against lefties, I think, which is kind of weird. And then now, yeah, you're rolling out an outfield lineup of Young Ho Lee, Grant McCray, and who else was out in the outfield? Somebody that's not in the player pool, maybe? I should look.
Let's see.
So I thought the lineup came out, or I should look at the right screen, really is what I should do. That's what happens when you have way too many screens open.
It's really only 2, Grant McCray and Yohung Lee listed.
Oh, yeah, because they have Christian Koss and Buddy Kennedy playing. Oh, yeah, it's somebody that's not in the player pool because the DS only has 8 guys in there, which means it's some random minor leaguer, which would fit considering the lineup looked so atrociously bad. Oh, Eddie's Leonard, who at one point was a ranked prospect within the Dodgers organization, and then bounced around. So he's playing outfield as well. So, yeah,
So maybe in your non-Gore lineups, take a shot at a 2-man and some of those with San Francisco.
I would rather stack the Cubs than the Giants tonight. So I would rather stack against Skubal than stack the Giants, which is probably weird to say. I think even 2-man, which is weird to say because we know how much work can get blown up or struggle or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I really like Bregman and Suzuki. Like Bregman, spoiler alert, Bregman is my dinger call of the night. I'll give that one away. So like Bregman and Suzuki, I think, are super interesting 2-man stack for me tonight. So I like that much more than what San Francisco has to offer me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of where I'm going. I don't know. I think I'd probably would have rather 2-man Pittsburgh against Henderson, even though he's my favorite pitcher on the slate.
We could get a Basabe and a Holy for $5,000.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm more worried about chasing Young Ho Lee's 2-homer game and then coming back and having him facing a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
But
you could take Susak and save $100.
I kind of like. I wish Susak and Basabe were closer in the lineup, right? Or did they move Susak?
1 and 5.
I guess that's not bad. But in reality, that's the worst it can be, right? Because 1 and 6 is the same separation the other way around as 1 and 5 is. So 5 and 6 would probably be the worst lineup spots to pair them together with.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like Holy is 2, so
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe my San Francisco exposure just basically is Susak, because he is in my sheet and he has been swinging it super well.
Yeah.
So maybe I just have some one-off exposure. I got to play with my one-off pool a little bit. But at the top wise, which team are you most likely to fade?
In top of ownership.
Yeah, I mean the two teams at the top are so highly owned that it's really tough for me to give you a cutoff point. But I guess there's 10 teams at 33% or higher. I think that's probably a little wide, but which of the 10 teams are you most likely to fade?
At that, I'd say Texas.
You know, I didn't really want to go that wide because I think for me the obvious is Kansas City.
Yeah.
Facing Joe Ryan, plus I mean Kansas City's just not the greatest offensively.
I would love Joe Ryan so much tonight.
But then, yeah, you're probably Texas is right. Even though like their matchup isn't all that bad. Tidwell was a former top prospect with the Mets. So there's some pedigree there, but just small sample sizes kind of skewing, the pitcher woba part of the Texas matchup.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The implied run total for Texas is super strong, and I don't quite feel very great about that. Are there any other offenses you want to talk about sprinkling in? Did you say what you're doing for sure with St. Louis tonight against Weathers?
No, I don't think they made my top 14. I don't really like Weathers that much, but I'm not in a hurry to stack St. Louis.
St. Louis made like my number 11 spot, but I don't love it overall. So I wonder if I should be tempted to switch them somewhere else, but maybe I should be considering Toronto more. But Toronto didn't make my top 12. I just saw what the pitcher woba number was, but that's also skewed because Wisniewski, just literally returned from Tommy John in his one start into his return. So that number is a little tough to take in. But
I think the Braves, Miami, San Diego, Arizona could be like sneaky pop-off games. I mean, I don't know how sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, decent ownership in the game. But even then, like combined, they're still less owned than Tampa Bay or Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, San Diego is 21.
And then San Diego and Arizona is, I mean, that one's combined for what, 67%? So, like, the same ownership as the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So, Arizona, San Diego is one that I think feels like it could be sneaky.
Just those games sometimes out there in Arizona just get wacky.
Yeah, I almost kind of feel like Toronto and Houston is a super underrated game.
Yeah.
I mean, if Savage's walk issues continue, like that just creates more upside for that game. And obviously Wisniewski struggled in his first start back from Tommy John. So and we know that right-handers in that ballpark, right-handed hitters in Houston, doesn't take much to get some home runs going. So that's kind of one of those games that I think if you sneakily wanted to go overweight on them, I think you might be in a good GPP spot. But I think there's a lot of downside to that game too, obviously. I don't really have much else to share from an offensive standpoint at this point. How How about we rock the position by position and get out of here? We've been going for about 52 minutes already, so
Yeah.
it's probably long enough.
Let's see. Position by position. Hunter Goodman is my favorite. Excuse me. But I think like Susak, just like you were talking about, even just as a one-off makes a lot of sense, and he's free. First base, I love Matt Olson. He'd be my favorite. Second base, woo-wee. Chase Meredith, maybe, I don't know. Third base, it's always Junior, but I do have a soft spot for Besby. Shortstop, I guess I have to include him. Tony Tolbert. You can tell my Cowboys fan. Tyler Tolbert. Outfield, love Mickey, love Teoscar, Rafaela, Luke Keuchel, and somehow I didn't say Cody Clemens at second base.
Let's see. For me at the catcher position, obviously Susak. I think Joe Mack, 2,900, been swinging it pretty well for the Marlins, and now gets even more playing time without Hicks. But also Austin Wells back in the lineup again, and I don't know if you remember, I mentioned him as the one-off cheap play last night at catcher.
Yeah.
And he went and homered last night for the Yankees. He's another one that I think could be a little motivated here as the season winds down because of all the talk about how the Yankees needed a catcher.
I gotta say, we both were pretty good at calling some homers on yesterday's show.
Yeah, we got a lot of home runs correct yesterday. First base, it's Luis Garcia, so like a Yankee. But I talked about him in his debut last night, and he went and homered in that. And then Kyle Stowers. So 2 positions in, I've named 2 Yankees and 2 Marlins. Feels a little weird. Second base, while I have a bunch of names listed on the website, I don't really love anybody. Royce Lewis being so popular makes me love him a little less than I did in my notes. But I mean, maybe it is Royce Lewis. I do like Basabe. Did they change his position? He was second base, third base. They must have changed it, so I have to change the notes. A sneaky one, even though I love Melton tonight, is Cole Young. 12 hits and a walk over his last 6 games. So somebody I'm interested in. Third base is always Jake Ham, like you mentioned, and then Alex Bregman, who is my dinger call of the slate. You don't want to pick on Skubal. That's fine. I understand it. Then it's, obviously Basabe is eligible there, or McGonigal for the Tigers. Shortstop-wise, you can obviously play McGonigal there. It's going to be Ezekiel Tovar. Had a pretty solid game last night, and he is 5 for 14 with 2 home runs and a double against Freddie Peralta. So Tovar, access to Coors at 3,500 on DraftKings. I am very interested in it. You scroll down, he's not very popular at all. So definitely somebody I want to play.
And he's got 235 ISO the last week.
So he's swinging it pretty well. I mean, last night, a lot of his ISO might have came from last
Yeah.
night, but definitely somebody that I was higher on coming into the season, just because he's been pretty good or had been pretty good, thinking that he was going to have a bigger season. Outfield, couple of my favorites. Corbin Carroll tonight against Randy Vasquez. Cole Carrig, because I can't stop playing Cole Carrig. And Max Clark for Detroit, because his debut few games in Sacramento went super well. And then one Atlanta Brave near the bottom here, Mike Yastrzemski, OPS of 1424 over the last week. So a $2,700 outfielder feels like a pretty solid play. And that's something that'll help me get to some combinations of, Logan Henderson, Melton, Skubal, etc. tonight. So Yastrzemski probably going to be in some decent amount of like my Dodger stacks or whatever, because we need some value to make the Dodgers work. All right, Tattoo, you give out some of your dong to some people and we will get out of here.
All right. I like Bregman tonight for a homer. Vargas of the Miguel variety. Cody Clemens, Carter Jensen. On the earlier slate, but it don't matter for home runs. Jonah Heim. I'm not going to pick on him twice. And then I was trying to find Griffin Connie.
Yeah, I definitely like some Marlins to hit home runs tonight.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an odd thing to say because the Marlins aren't the team you associated with hitting a bunch of home runs. So, but yeah, that's all we got.
I was just going to say, we didn't, I don't think neither one of us mentioned them, but Tatis is 2 for 5 with 2 home runs versus Rodriguez. So it's.
Yeah, I just hate playing Tatis at this point. He did have a super hot stretch for a while. But, yeah. San Diego is just so tough to figure out. But, yeah, that's all we've got. We're back tomorrow around the same time. If you're not a member of DFSarmy, what are you doing? Scrolling at the bottom of the screen, our best promo code right now, 20% off. Using code BOOK, B-O-O-K. And that's for the life of any membership. There's a link in the description below that'll take you to that, where you can enter in that code. Members of DFSarmy, hit us up in Discord with questions, screenshots, all the fun stuff. We're back again tomorrow. Take it easy and helmets up tonight.
The best coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmets, casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many. Take your check. Oh man, shit. They got us fucked up. Army, regroup. We pledge always to have that edge. We don't fire warning shots. Competition just dropped. We locked and loaded before lock. Whatever the time, yeah. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires a willingness to outwork your competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper.